We're chatting today with a member of the Cardinals fan community, Mervin Bustmante, where we talk about training camp and a way too early roster predictions. Stay tuned.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Cardinals Connection.
Palmer extending the play.
Nobody there.
Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald is going to take it into Green Bay territory. Larry Fitzgerald inside the 30, the 20.
If he
Larry
scores, it's
Fitzgerald
over.
is insane to the 4-yard line. One of the greatest postseason performers ever.
The sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast, Cardinals Connection, the podcast that brings you the fans' perspective on Cardinals football from just a handful of fans like you see here today.
This week's guest is Mervin Bustmante, a rising Cardinals content creator known for sharing breaking news, team rumors, and real-time reactions. Welcome, Mervin.
Thank you all for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity and excited.
All right, man. First question I have for you today is, how'd you get into covering the Cardinals and sharing updates on x/twitter.com?
I guess just the passion I have for the team. I've been a fan for damn near over 20 years. On top of that, I also like to stay up to date with the team, know what they're up to, know what they're doing. And I've also always had this little passion for journalism. Was doing school for a bit for it. Had some things come up this year, so trying to traverse those little mountains, those little obstacles, but we're getting there. But other than that, it's just been that. It's just the passion for this team.
I love that. I love that so much. Having a passion for the team is what creates community. How do you feel about the Cardinals online community?
It could be a little rough. It could be a little all over the place, but for the most part, it's very welcoming, and it's also very interactive. I've made a lot of friends, a lot of connections, met a lot of new people through that community. Got to introduce some of my friends into that community too. So it's definitely one of the more welcoming communities in the NFL.
I think so too. I mean, obviously there's the whole fair weather fan or bandwagoning or whatever, but I think you get that pretty much anywhere. And even at a Dallas Cowboys Cardinals matchup, you'll see our fair weather fans coming in their Cowboys gear, stripping that off, and the Cardinals, seize the day kind of way. So we still love them.
Exactly.
Well, you're starting to build a really solid following. People are getting in the groove. They're reading what you're writing. How do you keep up? What's your process? I have a process. James has a process. What is your process for staying up to date on Cardinals news?
Well, first and foremost is making sure I'm also a part of group chats. Being a part of group chats, as well as making connections with people in the media, as well as just keeping basically my phone on 24/7 with push notifications. Because I'm not going to lie, sometimes I'm late to news and I'm not always on top of things. But I really like to keep up to date and make sure that I'm there for anything Cardinal related. I'm constantly checking Twitter, constantly checking Instagram. And I don't know if it's an addiction or if it's just me really wanting something to come up with the Cardinals. And I feel like sometimes that brings out bad juju and we get a injury news or something like that. Earlier, I was like, oh, well, we had training camp today. I can't wait to hear how we start off. And then first thing I hear is Walter Nolan with a calf injury. Oh, okay.
That was rough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like I bring that on myself sometimes. But that's just my process.
Send all your hate mail to Mervin, apparently.
All right, Merv, do you actually have a favorite moment or memory that really just made you say, like, yeah, this is my team for life? It could be good or
Well,
bad. It could be anything.
I actually do, and I pinpoint this all the time. My one memory that I'll always cherish as a Cardinal fan was my first ever game as an Arizona Cardinal fan. This was all the way back in 2008, well, technically 2009. The first game I ever went to was the NFC Championship game. The Philadelphia Eagles with Donovan McNabb versus Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald's Cardinals. I'm not sure how we won the tickets. All I know is that we had won them off some sports radio raffle. But that was my first ever Cardinal game, and it was also the first time I've ever, I guess, experienced something meaningful. You know, I've gone through the ups and downs with this team, lots of downs, but you know that game, just seeing Larry Fitzgerald go off against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cardinals' defense going back and forth with the Eagles. They had really young Deshaun Jackson, so that was insane. It was just it was an insane memory. I think the one thing that stood out the most was lifting that NFC Championship and ending the game with Darnell Dockett recovering the fumble when I think they were doing a little lateral thing at the end of the game. I think that game really solidified my fandom and my loyalty to this team.
It's awesome, bro. We all remember that. We all remember that playoff postseason push. So,
Oof,
crazy.
it was beautiful.
Ended in heartbreak, but you know
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the seasons you just can't forget. Unforgettable season for sure.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to current, man. Let's go. What's like one storyline, like an underrated storyline that you think fans should be paying attention to heading into the season?
The one that I really think is going to be overlooked and is going to be going under everybody's radar is the wide receiver 3 competition or slot wide receiver. Yes, we have Greg Dortch, 800-yard season.
800-yard season.
We have Greg Dortch, but I know that he has not produced what the Cardinals have hoped he would produce. You can maybe attribute that to the way Drew Petzing schemes things. Maybe you can attribute it to his separation and separation numbers in 2024. But I really feel like there might be a little bit of a battle there between him, Xavier Weaver, and I would even go as far as to saying Tejon Palmer. I know he definitely is going to have that chip on his shoulder after being cut last year for the undrafted free agent rookie Xavier Weaver. But I feel like that's going to be the storyline that's going to be one of the most underrated storylines heading into the 2025 season is that slot wide receiver comp.
In a lot of fantasy leagues, there's extra points for the kick return. We noticed that Greg Dortch wasn't so much on the receiving end of those this year as we anticipated and saw a lot more of DJ Dallas. Do you think that was intentional?
I really do think so. I know DJ Dallas was really pretty much brung into this team to be their return man. That's why you didn't really hear too much about Greg Dortch returning anything last year, even if it was just punts. You'd hear him, you'd see him return a punt or two, but it wasn't anything crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But DJ Dallas was brung in specifically for that reason, and he really did show it in the first game of the season. He was pretty quiet after that, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do, came in and did that. Did he take up a spot in the running back room? Yes, but it was worth it.
I think so. He did a great job.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Greg Dortch. I feel there are a lot of unproven, guys in the later rounds that we got. Weaver, Palmer, and we still have, other receivers that can make differences as well. So Dortch finding his way via, special teams or, certain receiver packages. That'll be something to definitely watch out for when it comes to the new look Cardinals or the Cardinals offense. Another underrated storyline I really have is going to be how does Trey Benson start to take over the running back role? I feel right now James Conner, he's getting up there, still can produce perfectly, but we got Trey Benson in the third round, and seeing his growth, was a seamless progression for when James Conner does hang it up or James Conner does go to a different team, for Trey Benson to take that role after.
I know a lot of fans are waiting to hear that, especially I keep going back to fantasy football, but a lot of people, especially in dynasty leagues, picked up Trey Benson, and I know they'd love to see him get more time on the field. But being the old lady in the group, I'm still pulling for the old guys. You guys, let's go ahead and start talking about our first impressions of camp. I know it just started, but what are some of the standout stories or positional battles, like you've already alluded to, that you're hearing right now?
I definitely say the cornerback competition. Cornerback room is pretty deep right now. There's a lot of depth there. You have, I think, the returning Keitrell Clark, who is going to be somebody that's going to be somebody that's going to be battling for a spot this year for sure. We have the Will Johnson storyline. Will he be our CB1 coming into the season with Sean Murphy-Bunting's injury? Starling Thomas taking another year 3 leap. And then you also have I forget the corner's name that was drafted in the 3rd round.
Elijah Jones?
Yeah, Elijah Jones. Drafted pretty high. This is the one season that he's healthy, and the one season that I asked to prove that he belongs on this team and that he can catch up with this team. So definitely be on the lookout for Elijah Jones. Denzel Burke out of Ohio State, trying to make a push for the roster as well. It's gonna be an all-out battle. Definitely for, I think, the cornerback 1 position. I'm really excited to see Max Melton take that sophomore leap. But
What do you think, James?
That cornerback room is definitely deep. The first impression I have now is just seeing Gannon talk about the injuries to the D-line already. Right now, we already have Walter Nolan nicked up, B.J. Ojulari nicked up, and that's a little worrying. It's going on to year 3, and we still haven't seen B.J. Ojulari put in any meaningful minutes. So next year he's going to be year 4. That's going to be a contract year to see if he's capable to stay in the Cardinals, or we're going to have to let him go. So trying to see if he can get healthy and playing at least 12 games out the season is something that I'm watching for, because his future kind of depends on it here, especially for going into year 3. Nolan, I think he'll be fine, but we do have some PTSD from the last calf injury that we have, so monitoring that and making sure he's not missing an extended amount of time, just like how Darius Robinson did, and just seeing this line grow in general, this defensive line grow in general.
Well, we had a huge breaking headline happen on our first day camp. Mervin already kind of touched on that at the start. What do you think of this crazy news about Walter Nolan and this injury?
2 things. I really hope that they don't rush Walter Nolan back. We did see them rush Darius Robinson back a little last season. Saw him play at 50%. Didn't really produce or play as well as he should have because of said injury and because he was out there playing 50%. And I really think that they'll be able to actually take it a little easier this time with him. I feel like they'll be able to manage that injury a little bit better. They're a bit better equipped this season. So losing Walter Nolan won't be that big of an issue with the additions of Dalvin Tomlinson, the return of Darius Robinson, Calais Campbell. I feel like they could afford to sort of manage through that injury.
James, I thought that I read that Walter Nolan should be good to go by week 1. Have you seen any additional news about that?
I did see he should be good to go by week 1. I don't know what the training staff has in store for him. He likely won't play preseason from what everything is coming out. This new regime keeps a lot of things under wrap, behind closed doors, secret,
Yeah.
top secret, and it's really hard to get any
Which I think is good.
any valid information out of anybody. It is projected to be anywhere between week 1 and week 3. And if he's, I feel like we shouldn't rush him back. And if he's only able to play 20 snaps week 1 and eventually ramp his play time up throughout the season, that's the best way. He doesn't have to rush. Just like how Mervin said, we do have a big, deep defensive line. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is just making sure that he comes back into a place where he's comfortable and he's not the main focal point at first, and he can become his own person, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. Let's just hope it goes quickly, that it's not too bad, and that he's on the field doing what he loves and showing us what he can do. Mervin, let me start with you. Which player do you think has the most to prove this year in order to stay on the roster?
I think I alluded to this earlier. I have 2 players in mind. My first one would be Keetro Clark again. He has been developing really well within the Gannon system. I feel like he's made some progress. You can look at his tape in 2023, see his tape in 2024. You'll see a pretty good improvement with his skill there. Coverage-wise, I feel like he still needs a lot of work. Saw him play versus the Chargers, and again, saw him get exposed a lot at that time. But I felt like he really started to find some of his footing towards the end of the season. And I say Keetro Clark because you also have the returning Elijah Jones, who I know Monty Ossenfort isn't going to just give up on in a heartbeat. They drafted the guy pretty high up, so I know they expect him to at least make a push to make that roster, whether that be doing special teams work, improving coverage and rotation in the preseason, just basically trying to prove himself as somebody that could be part of that depth chart. Then I guess the second one would be Michael Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Carter is coming into a pretty full running back room, just like last season.
Yep.
Really needs to show why he belongs there. Again, was very reliable last season when basically everybody in the running back room went down, and showed that he is still depth worthy. So Michael Carter, again, also another season to prove why he belongs on an NFL roster. And I think that he's going to make a strong push this preseason and really give I know DJ isn't going to be in any trouble unless there's an injury. So I really feel like it'll be a battle between him and Drew Petzing's guy, Amari DiMercato.
Yes, that's big. For me, I think especially to watch for is Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. We spent big money on them last year, and they didn't produce anything. Now they have a fresh start at this point, but it's also their last year on that contract. So it's pretty much a boom or bust to see if they're worth even keeping on the team next year or even keeping out throughout training camp. So seeing what these guys can do, especially in the deep defensive line room, it's big for them. Either they produce well, get a payday somewhere else, or they get re-signed. So watching these two free agents come back. It's going to be big to see how they produce with a upgraded line and more time under their belt as a Cardinal.
I totally agree with both of you. Those are such great insights, especially because you're talking about players that the everyday fan may not even be aware of. So be sure to keep your eyes open during training camp and during week 1 and see who made it for sure. I keep thinking about Dante Stills. I love Dante Stills
Oh
just
yeah.
because he's like a magical angel baby human being. And there's been so much talk about his position that's not including his name in the discussion.
It
And I'm
is.
like, how is this happening? He was so great for us last year. Mervin, how do you feel about Dante Stills?
Dante Stills, and I've been advocating for Dante Stills since 2023. He has been our most consistent defensive
Mm-hmm.
tackle for the last 2 years. And I feel it is extremely unfair to even mention his name
Yeah.
as a person of interest to be on the chopping block because when you need him to step up, he steps right up. When you need him to play and go every single snap of the game, he's going to do every single snap. Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, like James said, I don't really see them being safe within this team. Bilal's still dealing with his neck injury, and Justin really has to go out and prove why he belongs on this roster. But I feel like it would be a genuine disservice to Dante Stills if he was even brung up in trade talks or if he was cut right out by the team because he really has been one of their best defensive tackles these last 2 years.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me. It's just been so frustrating to see some of the media coverage, especially national media coverage. And I'm like, you obviously don't watch our games.
Oh yeah, it became very clear since the beginning of last season when Garrett Williams was going on his little um, quiet rise that a lot of the media doesn't really care for Cardinal football. To them, we're always going to be bottom feeders. But Dante Stills is 100% going to go under the radar, and he's going to make some plays for this team still in 2025,
Hmm.
especially now being in that rotation with Dalvin, Darius, and Calais. They're going to come off the field. He's going to go right back in there, and he's going to put some pressure on quarterbacks for sure.
I agree with you. Here's a segment we're going to move into. I've been kind of excited about this one. It's way too early, 53-man roster predictions. And I don't think we need to go through the entire roster. So I'm going to break it up into categories, and you give me a player you think is going to make the roster and a player you think is going to be cut from the roster. So let's start with the most painful of all positions, quarterback. We obviously know Kyler is our QB1. So, Mervin, what's your take on the QB room?
Quarterback room pains me to say, but the Toon Squad is most likely coming to an end. It, Unfortunately, I don't think they brought in Jacoby Brissett just to make it competitive. Jacoby Brissett is a veteran quarterback that has been doing this far longer than Clayton Tune, and he's been a lot more accurate, a lot better than Clayton Tune. I know Clayton hasn't really had the opportunity to go out and show that he could be a reliable backup quarterback. And the one time he did, it was the Browns' infamous murder. But I really do think that Jacoby Brissett's going to go ahead and take over the QB2 spot, and Clayton Tune is going to be cut and hopefully kept on our practice squad.
Yes, I definitely agree with Merv. I think Toon is a practice squad player and is likely going to be on the practice squad this year.
I'm just gonna keep hope as mayor of Toontown and say they're gonna keep all three of them on the sidelines. We're gonna waste a roster spot for the beloved Clayton Tune.
All right. There you go.
That's just
Anything's
my
possible.
wishful thinking.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. Hey, he beat out a slew of veterans to
He
keep that
did.
spot, so who
He did.
knows?
He
He
did.
beat out Dobbs. He beat out Ritter. He's still here.
He
He's
really did.
still fighting.
Oh, okay. Enough heartbreak for me. Let's talk about wide receivers. Favorites. If you want to do more than one, that's fine. But who's your favorite to stay, and who's your pick to say goodbye?
I think we all know the top three that are staying. Weaver's going to be something. Simeon Fehoko, we'll see if he can get on a roster spot. I feel like he's going to battle Palmer on that one. I think it's going to be the top three. So Marv, Wilson, Dortch, Weaver. I want to say Palmer, and then I think Fehoko will practice squad or special teams. We'll see.
What do you think, Merv?
I agree with James. I think we all know who our three starting wide receivers are going to be heading into the season. Definitely Xavier Weaver, I think, is going to be somebody that I am for sure confident is going to make this team again. The one sneak that I have is either Quez Watkins or Tajon Palmer. Tajon, of course, got cut last season in favor of Xavier Weaver, and Quez Watkins is a veteran, somebody that could play the role that Zach Pascal played for the last 2 seasons here. So I really feel like those two could be some of the dark horses to sneak into the wide receiver room, into the 53-man.
Yeah, I was going to ask, but there's no love for Zay Jones around here?
I think Zay Jones is going to make it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Okay.
we got to
He's
fight.
safe.
Yeah,
He's safe.
I think he'll definitely make it.
I think I'm the most worried about Quez Watkins. That's probably the one I'm the most, and I'm not worried. It's just, that's the one. Okay. Well, right now there are a ton of tight ends, and I don't see us keeping all of those. Do we stick with 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, McBride, Ryman? Who else do you think?
I think for the tight ends, it's going to be the 3 guys, Trey, Tripp, and Eli. DeGuara will probably go on the practice squad. From what I'm seeing, he's going to be one of the guys that's unfortunately going to be practice squad.
I don't know if you can see my screen or not.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, it's just a whole bunch. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think they're just going to go with the big 3. I don't see any
I do really like how the Cardinals make use of the practice squad, though. It feels like there have been plenty of people who've gone back and forth between that practice squad and the not starting lineup, but the main team. So we have that. If there's somebody you really love, like Amari DeMercado, and he goes on the practice squad, chances are you're still going to see him on the field this year, don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I think so. Sure. I feel like a lot of our practice squad guys stay, and we see them next year trying out for the team again, and they want to be here.
I mean, Trey Benson, Michael Carter, James Conner, DJ Dallas, Amari DeMercado, and Bam Knight from North Carolina State. That is quite a big room. I imagine we would keep, I don't know. There are 6 of them.
I want to say 3 that we're going to keep. We're going to keep James Conner. We're going to keep 4. We're going to keep James Conner, Trey Benson, DeMercado, and Michael Carter.
So you think DJ Dallas will be moved to the practice squad?
I think DJ Dallas will get moved.
Wow. Well, then who's going to return the punts?
Let's see what Greg Dortch can do.
Put Greg Dortch back?
This would be a victory for Seahawks FC, sadly.
Yo.
Drew Petzing and Jonathan Gannon both talk a lot about continuity. So I don't really I wouldn't see them switch it up as much as they did or as much as they would. Last year they kept James, Trey, DJ, and Amari. And I remember that day Cardinals Twitter sort of crashed out because of Michael Carter being cut.
Yes.
So it was a rough day that day. But even after he was cut, he stayed on our practice squad. And when DeMercado and Trey Benson both went down, they called him right up, and he was ready to go. So I think the one guy that would be the odd man out here is Bam Knight. I don't see him making the team. Don't even see him making the practice squad. But maybe I'm wrong. But I really do think Michael Carter stays on the team no matter what.
A lot of us, you said the Cardinals Twitter crashed out over Michael Carter. I was one of those, I will admit, but I get so attached. And I know it's not just me, but I'm like, shoot, they just woke this guy up in the middle of the night over there at the Jets, and they're like, you're going to be a Cardinal. And they brought him over, and then they did him dirty a little bit. But it happens. It's a business. That's something I have to keep reminding myself.
It's the sad part, yeah.
It's as much as it seems like a family, it's really a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yep, sadly.
Oh, goodness. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because we are just some chatty Cathys tonight. Let's do some rapid fire. I'll call out the questions. James, you start. Mervin, you follow. Short and snappy. Favorite Cardinal player of all time?
Patrick Peterson.
Larry Fitzgerald. As much as I love P2, it's always going to be Larry Fitzgerald.
Thank you.
James, which team do you want to beat the most this season?
Hope we sweep them. We're getting our revenge. That's the easy one. We're going to Seahawks.
I'm falling right behind James. I want to beat the Seahawks so bad this season. You have no idea. I mean, sweet, perfect.
I'm just going to chime in for a second and say me too, because I've had some Seahawks fans comment on like regular posts, and they're just mean. Not even a football post.
They are mean. I swear they are. I ignore 90% of them just because I don't really care.
But. Okay. What is your go-to game day snack, James?
Nice cold beer. nice cold Yingling.
Drinking your calories.
I like to drink my calories. And then if I was going to go game day snack, it would probably be potato skins. I really like those.
Mervin?
Look, classic hot wings. Also some Lay's Flamin' Hot. Does not disappoint ever.
Does not disappoint. I'm with you on the wings right there. Oh, here's another good one. Ranch or blue cheese? James?
You guys are going to hate me, but blue cheese belongs on wings. Blue cheese is a wing.
Mervin, are you losing it over there?
Oh, man, I just heard blasphemy. It has to be ranch, and if you're putting anything other than ranch on your wings, then oof.
This is good. You guys are
man.
I mean, I'm team ranch, but I've been known to switch it up now and then. You got to be in a mood.
Yeah, it depends.
Mervin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was so great getting to know you. Everybody be sure to follow Mervin at Mervin Bustmante. Was that good?
Yes, perfect.
Rolled right off the tongue. Make sure you're giving him a follow there on the app formerly known as Twitter.
And thank you both for having me on. It was an amazing experience. Hope to be back on throughout the football season. Get to talk to you guys a little bit more. And, definitely subscribe to this channel.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Cardinals Connection on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.